Okay, we'll be starting with 2D-TRIG, and we'll be dealing with question 6. This is KZN 2025, and it's the September paper. So we have a design of the front view of a house, and it's given that the length of the house is 15 meters. That means that if we look at this, the length of the house is 15 meters. That means this one is also 15 meters, most likely. That's fine. I don't know. We don't really need that at the moment, but we will need it later on. The exterior stairway leading to the roof, okay, it has the angle of 30. That's okay because we can use Z, but we got 30, so it's fine. Ground, the slanted part of the roof is 9 meters, therefore this definitely is 9 meters as well. Angle of elevation is theta. This is the right angle, therefore that would be a right angle as well. And we can see that these two are equal. So this is 7.5 and that's 7.5. Okay, the reason is they told us WT is equal to TX. If those two are equal, that means this part is definitely equal as well. You don't have to worry about congruency and stuff like that, but you can look at the right angle and see that if WT is equal and TX is equal and TR is common, therefore WR and RX have to be equal as well. But for now, let's start with 6.1. 6.1 says calculate the length of WE and leave your answer in the third form. Okay, so I'll draw a separate triangle because it's easier to deal with. And I will put the angle 30. I will put W, E, and K. W, E, and K. I would also try and label as much as I can. That's 15. And they want me to calculate WE. Now, please label your triangle first. In terms of 30, that's opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. And that's done. Okay. Now, when we start to work with this question, they want us to calculate the opposite. We don't have the opposite, so it's fine. We got the adjacent and we got the angle. So if we look at stuff in terms of SOHCAHTOA, that's so, that's ka, and that's TOA, we start to understand that OA is tan. So tan of 30 equals to O opposite over adjacent, and tan of 30 equals to opposite over 15. And when we solve this, we get 15 times tan 30 equals to O, and O equals to 5 root 3. And this is in meters because the question was given to us in meters. So that's 5 root 3. Automatically, I know this is 5 root 3 as well, but we don't really need that at the moment. And that's question 6.1. If we look at 6.2, 6.2, it states determine the angle theta, correct 2 decimal places. Now theta is on the top. Most likely theta is on both sides, but we don't need both sides. Let's just do this. There, that's W, that's T, and that's R. That's theta. That's 9 meters. And I want you guys to understand that this is 7.5 because TR cuts the 15 directly in half. How do we know that? We know that WT is equal to TX. And we know that TR is equal to TR. Therefore, WR has to be equal to RX. If we look at this in terms of theta, that's the opposite. That's the hypotenuse, and that's the adjacent. What I have is I want theta. I got my opposite, and I got my adjacent. So in terms of SOHCAHTOA, let's look at it. Nope, I don't have opposite. I got hypotenuse. In terms of SOHCAHTOA, I have cos. So cos of theta equals to A over H. Cos of theta equals to A, which is 7.5, over H, which is 9. And theta is equal to shift cos there, 7.5 over 9. And this answer should be theta equals to 33.56. That should be all it is. Guys, now that we got two angles in this triangle, because we know one is a right angle, please understand that you can use sum of angles in a triangle to calculate the other side. But we don't need to do it. But if you did, it is possible. 6.3 says calculate the area of triangle WTX. WTX. So WTX looks something like this. W. So there's W, there's T, and there's X. It looks something like this, okay? Now, I know there's a height. The height is here. And for area, we need to remember the formula is half of the base times the height. Now, half of the base is easy because we know the base is 15, but we don't know the height. The height is here. But since this is a right angle triangle, it is quite simple to understand that if this is 9 and this is 7.5, we can use Pythagoras. R squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. R squared is 9 squared, which is 81. This equals to 7.5 squared plus y squared. If I simplify this, let me try and make it a little bit neater. This would be 81 equals to 7.5 squared is 56.25. Let's put it as 56.25. It's easier for me to deal with. They didn't say without a calculator, so I'm fine with that. And if they did, we might be in a little bit of trouble. 81 minus 56.25 equals to y squared. I do think the work's kind of cramped up. Let me move it a bit. Let's put it down here. And 56. Okay. So this would be 81 minus that answer. 24.75 equals to y squared. And there, y equals to y equals to, if I'm not mistaken, let's double check, right? We will double check 4.97 meters. That's 4.97 meters. Now, I normally leave things in surds because it causes a problem if we round off wrong. But for you guys, just to make it simple to understand, we'll leave it like this. Times, okay, so my final answer, which rounded off correctly according to the thing, is 73.31. Guys, if you're not comfortable rounding off, leave everything in surd forms. I think that's the best practice. It's just that I wanted you guys to see where the numbers are coming from. Surds can be a little bit confusing, and trig for term 3 is the most difficult part. So I did use decimals to make it a bit easier, but that's all there is to this question. Okay, the next question is from November 2025. Guys, just a piece of advice. I know everybody wants to guess the right paper. Everybody wants to find out whether it's 2015, 2014, 2013, 2019. It's okay to practice all the exam papers and try and guess the right question because your teachers use questions from past exam papers. You can get all of it from multiple different websites. The problem is if we're going to aim to get lucky, if we're trying to get lucky with the papers and guess the right question, that's a big problem. Let's not aim for that. Let's aim to understand the work. Practice the exam papers, but also go into the paper, even if you've never seen the question. If you understand the method of the math and you understand how to deal with it, then all questions can be answered. Because the chance that you guys actually did the exact question that your teachers are going to use in the test is very low. And why should we aim for that? Let's understand the math. So if we start with November 2025, in the diagram below, they told us WMT is equal to 90. So WMT. So we know this is 90 degrees. That's fine. We know that WS is perpendicular to WT. Okay, cool. Where is W? No. So MS is perpendicular to WT. That means this is also a right angle. That's cool. That should be no problem. And the rest of it should be fine as well. So 5.2.1 says, calculate the length of WS. All I have to do is focus on the right angle triangles. All I have to do is literally focus on the right angle triangles. There's my right angle triangle. W, M, S. That's the triangle I want to focus on because they want me to get MS. This is theta. This is 40. Theta is 70. And in terms of theta, that's the opposite, that's the hypotenuse, and that's the adjacent. Now, we got theta, we got the angle, we got the hypotenuse, and we want the adjacent. In terms of SOHCAHTOA, remember SOHCAHTOA, we need to remember that this is A and H is cos. So cos of 70 equals to A over H, which is 40, and A equals to 40 times cos 70. Okay, now what's going to happen is A is equal to 40 times cos 70, and that should be 13.68 units. Now, guys, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what it is, whether it's in meters or centimeters. So we're going to use it as units. Please write units. Please understand. And please remember that area is units squared. But that's fine. Now, even if we look at the next question, before we answer the next question, I would like you to understand that this part right here can be calculated. MS can be calculated with Pythagoras if we needed it. Okay? If we fully needed it, it could be done. I'm not saying we don't need it, but I'm saying that you could do it, right? They want us to calculate the length of ST. Now, we can go and do this in different ways. This should not be a problem, but we could also go and calculate here if we needed to. We can do multiple different calculations, but we don't need to. What you can do is for 5.2.2 is to start to understand the math, is to see that, hey, we got multiple right angle triangles. So this is a right angle triangle. This is M. This is W, and this is T. This is 70. And this is unknown. This is 40. And yeah, we want the full length. Now, guys, they want only this tiny part. I do understand that. But why focus on that? Let's get the entire line and thereafter minus WS out of it, and we will get the ST line. So don't panic with questions like this. Let's start to label. This is the hypotenuse. This is the opposite. And that's the adjacent in terms of this question. Okay? So in this question, we have theta. We have the adjacent, but we want the opposite. And again, this is cos. So cos of 70 has to equal to A over H. Cos of 70 has to equal to 40 over H. Now, guys, the H is on the bottom. Algebra is a problem for most of you. So that's h times cos 70 equals to 40. And h equals to 40 over cos 70. H equals to 40 divided by cos 70. Give me a moment. 116. That's a little bit of a problem. 116. Yeah. So it's 116.95. I rounded off correctly. Now we got this entire side is 116.95. That's the hypotenuse. So guys, I want you to understand in terms of this triangle, this entire side is 116.95. Let me write it underneath. So all we have to do is understand, listen, they only want a tiny part of this triangle. So I can say WT minus WS equals to exactly what they want, ST. So I take 116.95 minus 13.68, and that gives me the tiny part of ST, which is 103.27 units. So this part is 103.27 units, and that should be the end of it. Okay, so the next one is September 2024. This is also from KZN. Guys, please download exam papers. I know textbooks are good and stuff, but exam papers are the best. There's multiple websites. You can go to Stanmore, you could go to the government website, you can go to essay papers. There's a lot of websites that give free papers, good resources. You guys need to use it. Use everything that you can. So there's a handyman, and he attempts to reach the roof of a hall with a ladder that is 5 meters in length. Unfortunately, the ladder is too short and the new ladder will be required. Suppose that the length of the ladder needed to reach the top is double the distance from the foot of the wall. Also, the angle between his current ladder and the ground will need to be equal to the angle between the two ladders. This is generally an easy question. It might seem like it's difficult, but you guys don't panic, because I need you to understand that there's two right-angled triangles. If you look at this, one, that's the first one that doesn't look very straight. And this one is the second one. They also told us that no matter what x is, this part is going to be 2x. And they told us that these two angles are completely equal. So again, we don't know everything. And this question might be level 4 in terms of understanding, but in terms of calculation, it's more like level 1. It's more of a joke. So what we can do is focus on this. What we can do is focus on the big triangle. So theta plus theta would be 2 theta. This angle would be 2x, and that would be x. That would be the right angle, and we'd need to calculate. Let's label it as A, B, and C for now, just to make it easier, guys, for us to understand in this question. And it's quite simple, because you and I know that that would be opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. You and I know that we have the adjacent, which is x. We have hypotenuse, which is 2x, and we have the angle, which is 2 theta. So we basically have everything that we need. We want to calculate the angle, and A and H in terms of SOHCAHTOA would be cos. So cos 2 theta equals to A over H. Now, if we look at this question, cos of 2 theta equals to A, which is x, over H, which is 2x, and we're going to cancel it out. X and x cancels out, and we're left with cos of 2 theta equals to half. Now, guys, if we solve, let me move this out the way. If we solve questions like this, quite simply, 2 theta equals to shift cos of a half. And this should equal to 60 because cos equals to 60. This is 2 theta, and we divide by 2. Divide by 2, and theta equals to 30. Now, this is a difficult question. I do understand. The calculation is simple. The understanding is a problem. But now we know that this is 30 and this is 30. The fact that we know this, the rest of the questions, no matter what it is very simple to deal with. Now this, they told us if theta is 30. The reason they said that is sometimes people cannot calculate 6.2.1. Therefore, we would use 6.2.2. We can use theta as 30. The next calculation is they want us to calculate the length of the ladder required to climb the roof. And this is quite simple. Because we know this is 5 meters, we know this is x, and we know this is 30, right? There's a lot of ways we can do it. There is a lot, but let's calculate x because that's the only one we can fully calculate. And in terms of 30, that's opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. So we got our angle, we got our hypotenuse, and we want to calculate adjacent. So in terms of SOHCAHTOA, again, this is cos. So cos of 30 equals to A, which is, okay, let's just write it A over H. Cos of 30 equals to A, which is X, and H, which is 5. If we calculate A, that's going to be 5 times cos 30 equals to X, and X equals to whatever that value is. And this would be 4.33. So X would be 4.33 meters. Now, guys, at the start of the question, they asked us, they told us that 2x, the ladder needed is double the distance from the floor to the wall. So it is quite simple to deal with. All you and I have to do is remember if this is 4.33, they told us that this part, the ladder from the wall, this part, and the ladder that's actually needed is 2 times. So all we have to do to get the correct ladder is 4.33 times 2. But it doesn't matter. There's no need for you to panic because it says 2x. So that's 2 into 4.33, and that equals to 8.66 meters. And that's all there is to it. This would be 8.66. Why is it 8.66? Because this question specifically told us that this is double this. That's all there is to this question.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the next paper is November 2024. This is still KZN, guys. Okay. If we deal with this, it's quite simple. This is a very simple example. In the diagram, ABCD is a rectangle. DC is equal to 155. If it's a rectangle, that means that's equal to 155. DE is equal to 800. Angle of elevation is 22. So we are good. Calculate the length of BE. Guys, they want this entire length of BE, this length here. Now, I need you to understand that we only deal with right angle triangles for now. So if this is a right angle, that's a right angle. So 7.1, let's label our triangles. Guys, I draw triangles. If there's 10 different triangles, I will draw it. Let's go with E. Let's go with A. Let's go with D. Okay, EAD. Let's go with 800 centimeters, 22. And let's just calculate EA. So this is the opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. Now the part I'm aiming for is here, because I already know that this is 155. So it's quite simple, but let's work with it. You and I can figure out that we got the angle, we got the hypotenuse, but we want the opposite. In terms of SOHCAHTOA, which we've been doing for a while, we know that OH uses sine. So sine of 22 equals to O over H. Sine of 22 equals to O over 800. And if we solve it, 800 times sine 22 equals to O, and O equals to whatever that answer is. 800 times sine 22, 299, okay, 299.69. Now, this is in centimeters, so it's not too bad. But guys, remember this, they told us at the bottom is a rectangle. That means if this is 155, the other side's 155. So it's quite simple to deal with, because all we have to do is say, hey, EA plus AB equals to BE. So this will be 299.69 plus 155. Yeah, 155. And that equals to 454. 454.69 centimeters. Please write centimeters. So all we did was add this entire part, and that's 454.68, and we're done. Now, 7.2, determine the distance of BC. Where is BC? So guys, I'm going to remove all of this writing, but I want you to understand, if this is a rectangle, BC has to be equal to AD. Okay? BC has to be equal to AD. So again, there's no need to panic, because that's 800. That's 299.69. That's 22. And to me, the rest of it doesn't really matter, because you can either use 2D-TRIG or Pythagoras. Either way works for me. I'm not going to be fussy with this. This is hypotenuse. That's opposite, that's adjacent. You can go with any way. I'm going with r squared equals to x squared plus y squared. I know my hypotenuse is 800 squared. I know my x squared is unknown, and my y squared is 299.69 squared. If I solve this with Pythagoras, I am going to take it over one time, because it just keeps it a little bit cleaner. Now there's not too much of calculations. Yeah, so that's 800 squared minus, open bracket, 299.69 squared. And then I'm going to square root it one time. If any of you don't understand Pythagoras, we can do a lesson on it, but just to keep everything nice and neat. And I end up with 741.75 centimeters. So this is 741.75 centimeters. Now, guys, please understand, if this is 741.75 centimeters, therefore, this and this should be equal. 741.75, because it's a rectangle. But please don't forget to answer the question. You'll say BC equals to 741.75 centimeters. And that's the end of this question. Okay, guys, this is September 2023. This is still KZM as a revision. So in the diagram below, I can make the diagram a little bit bigger. In the diagram below, CBM and ABC are right angle triangles. CBM and ABC. So you guys can see there's two different triangles here. We got there, and we got there, right? And we got a 90 degrees at this point. That's fine. We got 21. We got BC is 12. And we got M is the midpoint. Therefore, they're telling us that this and this is equal. A lot of these questions, there's a lot of questions, but it's also a lot of easy questions. So firstly, 7.1.1, calculate the size of A, M, and C. So triangle A, M, C. We can do exterior angles if we wanted to. Realistically, we could do exterior angles. I mean, it works because if we look at this triangle, we can see that that's the exterior angle. So it means that this angle has to be equal to this angle plus that angle, right? So method one is we could say angle AMC equals to 90 plus 21, which equals to a 111. And this is exterior angles of a triangle, right? That's one way. Most of you, some of you won't see that, and that's okay. Geometry is about understanding the work, but also a lot of us work differently. Even I would use this method more, to be honest. It's just what I prefer. I would say 180 minus 21 minus 90, and that equals to, what's this? 180 minus 90 minus 21, and that equals to 69. And the reason is sum of angles in a triangle. Now, guys, this is a roundabout way, and it works for me. If it doesn't work for you guys, that's fine as well. And what we can do is say angles on a straight line. So 180 minus 69 equals to 111. Angles on a straight line. But if you guys manage to see the exterior angles, that's fine with me. Either way is good. We shouldn't have a problem. As long as you guys manage to see the exterior angles, that's fine. They want the length of MB. Now, for 4.1.2, they want the length of MB. So the length of MB, let's go with 4. Oh, I'm doing some nonsense. I'm sorry. That's M, that's B, and that's C. That's 21. That's 12. That's opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. We have the adjacent. We have the angle, but we want the opposite. So in terms of SOHCAHTOA, this is tan. So tan of 21 equals to O over A. Tan of 21 equals to O over 12. And then O equals to 12 times tan 21. And 12 times tan 21 equals to 4,61 units, right? Again, please don't forget the units. 4,61 units. And if we deal with this is 4,61 units. Now I'd like you to understand, this is 4,61 units. So this would also be 4,61 units because it's equal. But they didn't ask us that, right? So MB is equal to 4,61 units. Again, they didn't ask us this. So I'm just dealing with it in general. Okay. They want the length of AB. Excuse me. They want the length of AB. So AB is the total. So AB is going to be equal to 4,61 plus 4,61. Guys, I'm trying to do this video in one take. I'm also not editing it, so I'm leaving all of the mistakes in. The reason I'm leaving it in is you guys need to see that it's very easy to make algebra mistakes. That's the reason why I'm leaving it in. And also, I'm keeping it at one pace. I don't want to be unrealistic and then do a video where it's like really super fast and then you guys get unrealistic expectations. I want you guys to see the actual time it takes me to do each question. I'm not saying you guys have to do it the exact same time, but we should get to a point where we're able to answer the questions at a good pace. Okay? So this is quite simple. That's AB is 9.21 units. The reason is AB is this entire line, and we can just add up. That's level 1. 4.1.4. Calculate the size of ACM. Now, ACM should not be a problem, because even though it looks like it's difficult, it's not. The fact that we know we got A, we got B, and we got C. This is 9.21. This is 12. And this is unknown. So in terms of the angle, this is opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent. This is, we have the opposite, we have the adjacent, and we want to calculate the angle. So we have to use tan. So tan of, let's call it theta, equals to opposite, which is opposite over adjacent. Tan of theta equals to opposite, which is 9.21 over 12. And if we solve this, theta should be equal to shift tan, shift tan, shift tan 9.21 over 12. Let me just calculate this quickly. Shift tan 9.21 over 12, and that should equal to 37.51 degrees. Now, guys, I'd like you to understand that this entire angle equals to 37.51. Now, the question wanted ACM. They only wanted this tiny part. For us to get this tiny part, it's quite simple, because all we have to do is 37.51 minus 21. Now, I'm going to put this as exact papers on YouTube as well. So I want you guys to please redo these questions, because it's impossible for you to learn by watching somebody else do the work. You guys need to be able to practice. Our calculators might differ. This might be 16.53. The reason is my rounding off at the top could be a problem. But it should be fine. It shouldn't be anything. 5.1. Yeah, if you used another method, as in tan of the entire triangle, maybe, but I don't think. I think 5.1 is good enough. And they want the length of AC. Guys, by now, the length of AC shouldn't be a major problem. That's strictly Pythagoras, and I think we can do it quite quickly. Let's try and put it here. This would be 5.1.5. If you guys notice, I've been drawing every single triangle out again, over and over again. The reason is I learn better in this way. This is just my method of learning. It's my method of answering questions. If I was writing your exam, I would have done the same thing. R squared equals to x squared plus y squared. We're getting the hypotenuse, so it's very straightforward. 12 squared plus 9.21 squared. And this should equal to 12 squared is 144 plus 9.2221 squared. I think it's 228. 228. Please use brackets, guys. I can see there's a lot of mistakes going to happen if we don't use brackets. And we're going to root that answer, and we should get 15.13 units. Now, you do not have to do that as well. You could have used 2D-TRIG if you wanted to. But for now, I don't think you need to. Okay, so a handyman attempts to reach the roof of a hall with a ladder of 5 meters in length. Unfortunately, the ladder is too short. Now, guys, we did this exact question. To be honest, if you look at it, it's the exact question that we did before. And I put it here. It could be practice, but I think we're going to skip this. This is November 2023. Okay. Now this question is exactly the question that we got over. Yeah. So sometimes we need to learn that the questions, it might look a little bit different, but look at this. September 2024 is the exact question. So we'll skip this question. And so far, that's 6 papers done. This is part 1. We'll go on with part 2 with another 6 papers. Okay, good luck, guys.